Welcome back to Immigration News Today. If you or someone you love is waiting on an immigrant visa, sitting at home, refreshing your email, wondering when the National Visa Center is finally going to move your case forward, then what I'm about to share with you today is something you do not want to miss. Because right now, in February of 2026, we are seeing real movement at the National Visa Center. And that is genuinely good news for thousands of immigrant families across the United States and around the world. So stay with me, because this video could directly affect your immigration journey, and I want to make sure you understand exactly what is happening, what it means for you, and what practical steps you can take today. Let me start by saying this. If you have been following U.S. immigration for any period of time, you know that waiting is part of the process. You know the frustration of checking the CEAC portal, that is the Consular Electronic Application Center, over and over, hoping for a change in status. You know what it feels like to watch the monthly visa bulletin and wonder if your priority date will ever become current. And you know the particular kind of helplessness that comes from having done everything right, paid your fees, submitted your documents, filed your forms, and still having to wait for the government to catch up to you. I hear you. This channel exists because of people like you, and because of situations exactly like yours. So let's talk about the National Visa Center. For those who are newer to the immigration process, let me give you a quick, clear overview of what the NVC is and what it does, because understanding its role is essential to understanding today's news. The National Visa Center, or NVC, is part of the U.S. Department of State, not USCIS. That is an important distinction. When USCIS, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, approves your immigrant petition, whether that is a Form Y-130 for a family member or a Form I-140 for an employment-based case, your file does not immediately go to a U.S. embassy or consulate abroad. Instead, it travels to the National Visa Center, located in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The NVC is the critical bridge between petition approval and your actual visa interview abroad. Its job is to collect your fees, review your documents, confirm your case is complete, and then schedule your interview at the appropriate U.S. embassy or consulate in your home country. Think of the NVC as a quality control station. Before you sit down with a consular officer to be evaluated for your green card, the NVC has to verify that everything is in order. That includes making sure you have paid the immigrant visa application fee and the affidavit of support fee through the CEAC portal. It includes the DS-260 form, which is the actual immigrant visa application that you and any family members included in your case must complete online. It also includes supporting civil documents, things like birth certificates, marriage certificates, police clearance certificates, and passports, as well as financial documents showing that you have a qualifying sponsor who meets the income requirements for an affidavit of support, known as Form I-864. When the NVC has reviewed everything and confirmed that nothing is missing and nothing is incorrect, your case receives a status that practitioners call documentarily qualified, sometimes also called documentarily complete. That status means you are ready for your interview, pending one more important condition: visa availability. Now, here is where things get a little more nuanced, and I want to walk you through this carefully because there is a very common misunderstanding that causes a lot of unnecessary panic for applicants. There are actually two separate bottlenecks in the consular processing pipeline. The first is the Visa Bulletin, which is published monthly by the Department of State. The Visa Bulletin controls when your priority date becomes current, meaning when a visa number is legally available for you based on your category and country of birth. For immediate relatives of U.S. citizens, meaning spouses, parents, and unmarried children under the age of 21, there are no annual numerical limits, so visa numbers are always available, and that first bottleneck essentially does not apply to you. But for family preference categories, like brothers and sisters of citizens or married sons and daughters, and for employment-based preference categories, there is a limited number of visas each year by category and by country. Some applicants from high-demand countries like India, Mexico, China, and the Philippines wait years, sometimes even decades, for their priority date to become current. The second bottleneck is the NVC scheduling backlog. Even after your priority date becomes current in the visa bulletin, even after your case is documentarily qualified, you still have to wait for an interview slot at your U.S. embassy or consulate. And as we head through February 2026, that is where the encouraging news comes in. The NVC's own published timeframes, which the Department of State updates weekly on their official website at travel.state.gov, are showing notably improved processing speeds in several key areas. As of the week of February 9, 2026, the NVC's official timeframes page indicates that case creation, meaning the time from when USCIS sends your approved petition to when the NVC creates your case in their system, is running at approximately 1 week. That is remarkably fast. Historically, case creation has taken anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks, and during peak backlog periods following the pandemic, it stretched even longer. Seeing that turnaround shrink to roughly 1 week is a meaningful win for applicants in the early stages of NVC processing. Document review times have also improved. Applicants who have submitted complete, accurate packages through the CEAC portal are reporting faster NVC review turnarounds compared to what we saw in 2024. The NVC is currently processing inquiry responses, meaning when you submit a question through their public inquiry form, within approximately 6 days. And the overall picture for interview scheduling, for documentarily qualified cases with available visa numbers, is trending more favorably at many posts worldwide, with some embassies now scheduling interviews within 2 to 3 months of a case becoming documentarily qualified. Now, I want to be clear and balanced here, because not everyone is experiencing the same timeline. The reality is that interview scheduling speed varies enormously, depending on which U.S. embassy or consulate is handling your case. Some posts, like those in London, Warsaw, and Abu Dhabi, are moving relatively quickly. Other high-volume posts, including Ciudad Juarez in Mexico and Manila in the Philippines, continue to face significant backlogs, with waits that can exceed 12 months or more after a case becomes documentarily complete. If your interview will take place at a high-demand consulate, the improved NVC processing times are still good news for you in the earlier stages, but you should calibrate your expectations for the scheduling phase accordingly. So what does all of this mean practically, and what should you be doing right now? Let me walk you through a clear, actionable plan. The first thing I want you to do is go to the official Department of State website, that is travel.state.gov, and look up the NVC timeframes page. This page is updated weekly and gives you the current benchmarks for case creation time, document review time, and inquiry response time. Bookmark that page. Check it regularly. Use it as your reference point for whether your case is moving within normal parameters or whether something may need attention. If your case is significantly outside those published timeframes, you can reach out to the NVC through their public inquiry form. Second, log into your CEAC portal at ceac.state.gov and check your case status. If your status says paid and your document status says complete, that means the NVC has reviewed your case and it is documentarily qualified. You are in the queue. The next step is for the NVC to schedule your interview at your embassy or consulate, and that will happen when an appointment slot is available and, for preference category cases, when your priority date is current in the visa bulletin. Third, pull out your I-797 Notice of Action, that is the approval notice you received from USCIS, and confirm your priority date. Then go to the monthly visa bulletin, which you can also find at travel.state.gov, and look at the final action dates chart for your visa category and country of birth. If your priority date is earlier than the date listed for your category and country, you are current and eligible for interview scheduling. If you are not yet current, the visa bulletin gives you a monthly update on how the dates are moving, so you can track your position in the queue over time. Fourth, make sure all of your contact information is correct and current. The NVC communicates primarily by email, And if your email address has changed or your contact information is outdated, you could miss critical notifications. Log into CEAC and verify that your email, mailing address, and any attorney contact information are up to date. This is one of those simple things that applicants overlook, and it can cause very real delays. Fifth, for those of you who are still in the document submission phase, meaning you have your NVC case number and invoice ID, you have logged into CEAC, but you have not yet achieved documentarily qualified status, I want to emphasize something that I cannot stress enough. Accuracy and completeness on the first submission are everything. The single most common reason for NVC delays is a checklist, which is essentially a notice from the NVC telling you that something is missing or incorrect in your submission. Every checklist adds weeks, sometimes months, to your processing time. So before you click Submit on anything, double-check your DS-260 for accuracy. Make sure all civil documents are original or certified copies. Make sure anything not in English has a certified translation. And make sure your financial documents are complete and match the requirements for Form I-864. Let me take a moment here to address something I know a lot of you are feeling, particularly those who have been in this process for years. If you have been waiting a long time and you feel like the finish line keeps moving, I understand. The immigration system is complicated, and the backlog that built up during and after the pandemic did not resolve overnight. But what we are seeing in February 2026 is genuine institutional progress. The Department of State has invested in staffing, technology, and process improvements at the NVC. The shift to digital case management through CEAC has significantly improved transparency and efficiency compared to the paper-based system that existed even a few years ago. These are real structural improvements, and they are producing real results in processing times. Progress is happening. Your case is moving through a system that is functioning better than it was. I also want to speak briefly about a specific group of applicants who have an option available to them that many people do not know about: expedited processing. If you have a genuine emergency, a life-threatening medical condition affecting you or a close family member, an imminent risk of serious financial loss, or a situation involving a child who is approaching the age of 21 and risks aging out of their visa eligibility, the NVC does have a process for expedited review. To request an expedite, your case must already have a current priority date, you must have paid all required fees, and submitted the DS-260 and supporting documents, and you must submit a formal written request via the NVC's designated inquiry channel with appropriate documentation. For example, a physician's letter for a medical emergency. These requests are evaluated on a case-by-case basis, and approval is not guaranteed. But if your situation is genuinely urgent, it is worth exploring with the help of a qualified immigration attorney. Speaking of attorneys, I want to say something directly to those of you navigating this process on your own. There is no shame in seeking professional help, and in fact, for many complex cases, professional guidance can make a significant difference in outcomes. If your case involves any complications, a prior visa denial, any criminal history, a complicated family situation, questions about admissibility, or documents that are difficult to obtain, please consider consulting with a licensed immigration attorney. An experienced professional can review your specific situation, help you avoid common pitfalls, and advocate for your case when things get complicated. The NVC process is manageable for many straightforward cases, but complexity calls for expertise. Now let me bring this all together with a clear summary of what you need to take away from today's video. As of February 2026, the National Visa Center is processing cases at improved speeds, with case creation times running at approximately 1 week, document review times improving, and inquiry response times coming in around 6 days according to the Department of State's own published figures. For immediate relatives of U.S. citizens, this means the path from USCIS approval to documentarily qualified status is moving more efficiently than it has in recent years. For preference category applicants, the visa bulletin remains the primary gating factor, But once your priority date is current, the NVC pipeline is functioning more smoothly. Interview scheduling times vary significantly by embassy and consulate, and applicants should use the Department of State's IV scheduling status tool, updated monthly, to understand where their specific embassy or consulate stands. The practical steps you should take today are clear. Check the NVC timeframes page at travel.state.gov. Log into CEAC to verify your status and contact information. Confirm your priority date against the current visa bulletin. Submit complete and accurate documents on the first try. Respond promptly to any NVC requests, and seek professional guidance if your case is complex. And one important caution: do not let your case go dormant. Under the Immigration and Nationality Act, specifically Section 203G, if you fail to respond to NVC notices or fail to apply for your immigrant visa within 1 year of being notified that your visa is available, your petition can be terminated. If that happens, you risk losing your priority date. Stay engaged, stay responsive, stay proactive. This is why Immigration News Today exists, to make sure you have the current, accurate, accessible information you need to navigate this process with confidence. Immigration law and policy can change, and sometimes they change quickly. What I have shared with you today is based on official Department of State data and credible reporting as of February 14, 2026. But I encourage you to verify everything against official sources and to consult a qualified attorney for guidance specific to your individual situation. This video is informational in nature and is not legal advice. If this video helped you understand your NVC case better, I want you to do 3 things for me right now. First, hit the like button. It helps other immigrant families find this content when they need it most. Second, subscribe to Immigration News Today if you have not already. We publish regular updates on NVC processing times, the visa bulletin, USCIS policy changes, and all of the developments that matter most to immigrant communities. Third, share this video with someone who is in the NVC process right now. You might be giving them exactly the clarity they needed today. And check the description below. I have put together a quick reference list of official resources, including direct links to the NVC timeframes page, the CEAC portal, and the visa bulletin, so everything you need is right at your fingertips. I know this journey is hard. I know the waiting is hard, but you are not alone, and you are not forgotten. Keep your documents organized, stay engaged with the CEAC portal, watch that visa bulletin every month, and know that help is available. The system is moving, your case is moving, and we are here, every step of the way, to help you understand what is happening and what to do about it. Until next time, stay informed, stay hopeful, and take care of yourselves and each other. This has been Immigration News Today. We will see you in the next one.